Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Ryan and Grant for episode 30...
33? 32? 31?
32. Grant, teach me something. Today, we are going to be talking about...
refinancing your wraps. Wraparound mortgages are beautiful, right?
Right.
We have learned that for 31 episodes, how awesome owner financing is and wraparounds. But one of the challenges that you run into is that you can't really effectively do like a traditional refinance of this property once you have already sold it as a wraparound mortgage.
Right. So this is not going to be an in-depth, hey, what is a wrap, what is a sub-2? We're assuming you all know that, but we will link to previous videos later on how to get there. But in a 15, maybe 17 second, what is a wrap?
So a wraparound is whenever you have some kind of underlying debt on a property. It doesn't matter where that debt comes from. It could be subject to, it could be your bank loan, it could be private money. I don't care. You have some kind of underlying debt on a property, and then you sell it to somebody with owner financing. They become the owner of the property, but you're charging them a higher principal amount and a higher interest, and you're going to charge them a higher payment than you're paying out.
Right.
So you should ideally be making cash flow. You should ideally have some kind of principal spread, and they become the owner of the house, and you just get that money.
So basically, cash in, cash out, difference you keep, and that is the wrap donut.
That's the wrap donut. Yes, watch episode 2 for that.
Well, episode.
Yeah, right. Wrap donut. Hey, look at that.
There we go. So real quick, if you're watching this on YouTube, on Facebook, this is live. So any questions you have, any comments you have, now is the time to address them. Grant does do mentorship, but not for free.
That's correct.
At Propelio, we don't necessarily do mentorship either. We hopefully point you in the right direction. So therefore, if you have questions, now is the time to get those addressed so we can help the class, per se.
Can I make that a not so subtle plug transition? I actually have a slot that is opening up next week for personal mentorship. So if anybody out there has been like considering doing the personal mentoring, I only accept students about 4 times a year. And this next week, we'll be coming up on accepting another one. So message me if you're interested in that. But this isn't a sales pitch. We're not here to sell. We want to give you real information. And that's one of the things that, guys, if you have not familiarized yourself, I know we've got a lot of new audience coming in every week, which is really cool. So if you haven't familiarized yourself with Propelio and with CreativeCashFlow.com, to know that like we have a giant stick up our butts about getting real information out to people for free. This kind of stuff is not going to be, hey, I'll teach you more. Like, this is real information. Go back. They've got a huge catalog on Propelio app of other videos and trainings and the academy that's coming out soon, and just Grant Teach Me Something episodes. Learn, and do.
I will say, you know, just to keep on subtly plugging us, the coolest thing we ever hear is, hey, I just did a deal, and I did it from watching and learning everything of what y'all are up to. DeMarcus Carrington, he has a deal that we're helping him out with recently. And it's really cool because he's like, yeah, I just watched all your videos, come to the events, come to the masterminds, and basically everything, I'm not going to say everything, he probably does his own.
No, everything.
Everything he learned is from us. So if we have helped you out in the past, let us know.
Please.
Otherwise, because we're just like, what are we doing
Yeah, that's
here?
one of the things too, and we'll move on, I promise. But if we have helped you in some way, please let us know. Comment on it, tag us, shoot us a message, because like, dude, we're just here, we're staring at cameras. We don't know what's going on the other side of that camera. So it's super, super, super encouraging. Like I got an email last week from somebody, hey dude, I just took down my first subject 2. Thank you so much for all. Like that is the stuff that keeps us doing this. Because we don't charge for this. This is like a free service that we're doing because we think that this information should be accessible to everybody. So let us know if it's helping you.
Right. And also let us know where you're coming from, like what city, what state. And while you're watching this video, why not just tap in there and see where everybody else is from, and that's who you need to be working with, because if they're watching these videos, they're probably a much cooler individual than the average Joe. So drop in the comments what you're looking for, what you can provide, and where you're from, and use that to help connect with other people that are watching on the Propelio stream. Okay.
So refinancing your wrap mortgage. So we just did our little like 30 second spiel about what a wrap is. But here's the challenge that you run into with that. So let's say, okay, remember I was very explicit in saying that I don't care where your debt comes from. Like it could be subject to debt, it could be subject to being essentially taking over on payments. It could be
making payments on people's behalf.
Making payments on other people's behalf. Thank you, Ryan. It could be that you've gotten private money to take down deals. It could be that you're getting a loan from a bank to take down this deal. You have put debt on a property, so you have a loan on that property. You become the owner of that property at that point in time. When you do a wraparound mortgage, you're selling the property. There is a deed, a warranty deed that goes from you or your company to another person. And that warranty deed gives them ownership. They give you a mortgage, so they're going to be paying you 9.5% over 30 years, whatever, blah, 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 blah. That's the beauty about wraparounds, is because they become the owner of it. It's not a rental situation. It's not rent to own. It's not any of that kind of stuff. What it is that person is now responsible for taxes, insurance, repairs, all that kind of stuff, okay? That's one of the beauties. One of the challenges that you now have fallen into is that what if you have $70,000 worth of debt on the property and you sold the house and you've got a loan to your buyer at like 115. Okay? I'm gonna write that because otherwise I will forget the numbers that I've used.
The 112?
115. So you've got $70,000 in debt, you sell it on a wraparound, they owe you 115, which means that they probably bought it for 125, gave you $10,000 down. Now, what's gonna go on is you're gonna go down and you're gonna be happy and everything's awesome. And then at some point in time, 3 years from now, you're gonna say, man, I've got $45,000 of equity sitting right here in this asset. Mm-hmm. Sure do wish I could get that, or sure do wish I could do something with that money. Another situation might be, holy crap, the due on sale clause got called on that 70. What do I do? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't own the property. So you can't go out and refinance that $70,000 because part of getting financing on a property is that you are collateralizing that loan with that asset.
So it sounds like we're about to talk about something. I actually was literally just having this conversation yesterday with somebody in our network. I'm not going to blast them just because I don't want them to,
sure,
whatever. But this is what we're talking about. You know, hey, I got this equity, I got this money. I don't necessarily want to sell the note because I lose the potential for further gains.
Right.
Refinance it.
Right. So how can you? Yeah, exactly.
So how do I do that, Grant?
So since you don't own that property, you can't collateralize the property. Mm-hmm. Any mortgage that you get, any typical financing that you're getting. So in Texas, we do a note and a deed of trust. Other places, you've got the mortgage, right? Well, a note, what does a note say? When you get a note on a property, what does that define? Dear property, I love you so much.
I'm sorry, people, but when you say, what does the note say? I always say, that stupid song from like a year ago.
Say?
What was the question?
What does a note say? What's in it? What is the point of a note?
The note just spells out the terms of what's going on, who's doing who. It's just like the what, the who, the why, the when, all the details of
exactly.
it. And the collateralization, all that BS.
So the note is going to say, Ryan owes Wells Fargo $100,000 at 3.5% for 30 more years. That's the note.
Right.
Now let's see. I'm going to test you. How hard have you been paying attention over these last few weeks? What does the deed of trust say?
The deed of trust is isn't that the security instrument?
It's the security instrument. Woo! We need I'm going to invest in some confetti cannons, and Daniel's going to hate me because every week I'm going to hit a button and so yeah, it's the.
Or you invest it and you never have to push it because Ryan's an idiot.
It's the instrument for security. So what the note says is blah 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 blah, and it says that you're going to have a 30-year mortgage for 3.5%, $100,000. The deed of trust is then going to turn around and say, if you don't pay that,
we get our shit
we
back.
get to take our house back.
Right.
Right? It's pretty self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. But in order to give them that, you have to own the house.
Right.
And in a wrap, you don't own the house. So you're kind of in this like, well, crud, like what do I do? So that is where a collateral assignment comes into play. That is how you're going to refinance your wraparound mortgage, is through what's called a collateral assignment.
Now, just so we make this easier for me, when you're saying a collateral assignment, the assignment has nothing to do with like what we do in the wholesaling world, right? Or
not really.
It's
not really.
So it's different terminology.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially, in the technical sense of it, is still essentially doing the same thing.
Right.
You're assigning your position in this security.
But you're like collateralizing. The position or collateralizing another asset?
Great question. So you in this, when you do a refi, you are collateralizing your property, right?
Correct.
You're saying, or when you get a mortgage in the first place, you're saying as collateral being, hey, if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, you get this from me. As collateral, I'm going to give you this property. We don't have that property, but what we do have is a nice, pretty loan with our wraparound buyer. That, in and of itself, is an asset.
So I'm hearing this, and you got your Bank One. I don't know, they're not around anymore. Bank of America, Chase Bank, your Wells Fargos. They're not going to play
Typically,
with this?
no. Yeah, typically.
So you're going to meet your local banker network person, right?
Thank you for I love when I get a segue to a soapbox because I love soapboxes so much.
You're welcome.
Close your account at Chase. They don't give a crap about you. Move it over to a local community bank. Somebody that when you walk in, it feels like you're going into the set of Cheers and they all turn around and they're like, Norm! Like, you need to go to a bank that actually knows who you are. I wish I could remember the Cheers theme song. It's something about knowing where you are.
Everyone knows your name.
Yeah, that's it. Go someplace like that because those are going to be the guys that are going to be helping you out with this. And even in the small local community banks, not everybody's going to do a collateral assignment, but I'll teach you a trick if you stick around here. I'll teach you a trick of how you can farm public data to figure out who's going to be able to give you this kind of loan.
And then anyway. Go on Facebook, get in a group, and type in, "Hey, who's the best? I can't talk. Who's the best local bank for real estate investors, real estate investing type transactions, notes, wraps, whatever?" And you
define the city that you're in.
Yeah, define the city
because
you're
they
in.
are going to be local, right?
Right, but you want to be in that local, and you want to be able to meet that bank manager, and you want to be able to have that conversation because you're not trying to pull the wool over anybody.
No.
You want them to be aware of what you're up to, and then also be behind that and finance that.
Exactly. So with sorry, as I refill you can tell I have energy today because I don't ever really drink caffeine, and this is real coffee, so wait for my hands to start shaking. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to find somebody that can do that collateral assignment. That is what this is called. Now, not everybody is familiar with it. There's plenty of people that are in this business, deep dived in, knee deep in this business and don't even know what a collateral assignment
on that,
is.
I think we've got a nugget out of this, and it's not just for refinancing the wraps. It's in terms of when you're in this business, and whatever conversation you're having, whether it's be the title company, a realtor, a lawyer, a banker, you need to make sure they are speaking the same language as you. Because just like a doctor, you've got the head doctor, the arm doctor, the foot doctor, the liver, you have all those different languages. So not every lawyer is going to be able to help out with the sub-twos and this and that. So that's my soapbox for a minute.
Yeah, I love it.
So when you are wanting to do business with something, make sure they can actually speak the language you're trying to speak.
So can I use this as a segue into something that's off color but funny? Okay. So you talked about there's a doctor for everybody and that you've got to speak the language. Those are great segues for me. I've got a friend from China who lives here, and he has changed forever what I will call a certain type of doctor because he legitimately thought that it was called a vaginacologist. Specialty doctors, no language, it's a gynecologist, but he thought it was a vaginacologist, which is actually more accurate, right? Okay, so anyway, so real estate.
You know what I love about that is how I just left you out.
Yeah, thanks for hanging me out to dry, buddy. You're right, though. So as a prime example of what you just were talking about is, I can't remember who it was. One of my students, I think they were down in Austin. Yeah, during our Q&A session, well, I won't name names, but I like them a lot. They're a good person. And they were even in Austin, they're in Johnson County, and they were like, nobody around here is doing anything, about this stuff. I went to a title company and a lawyer and a this and a that, and they do closings all day, every day, and they don't know how to do this stuff. And her interpretation of that was like, whoa, what's going on? And my response to that is yeah, that's why we're making such good money here, is because we're swimming upstream. There is legal ways to do this. I mean, there are a lot of illegal ways to do these things, of course, like with any investing, but there are legal ways to do that, and not every attorney knows how to do it. Not every realtor knows how to do it. Not every title company knows how to do it. So here is my example for that. If you were to go into Times Square with a microphone and you were to stick it in front of people's face Do you think that the vast majority of people that you put that microphone in front of could tell you 95% of why Warren Buffett's portfolio has been so successful?
No.
No, heck no.
I would say 80% probably don't know who he is.
Right. Do you think that the majority of people you stuck that microphone in front of could tell you 95% of what it takes to fix and flip a house? Probably.
Same answer.
Well, I think probably, because there's enough HGTV shows, there's enough, they can tell you the majority of what it takes to make that money in a fix and flip. They can't tell you the details of how to find the contractor and how to, drive your properties every week and these little things that make a big difference, but they could tell you 95% of how a fix and flip works. Since when does your Uncle Joe that's not in this business know 90% of how a successful investing strategy works, and that be the best strategy to use in a business that you're spending your Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. on an hour learning how this stuff works, right? So what I'm getting at is that when we get into these niche markets, these markets that not everybody knows how to do, yes, we have the ability to make more money in better ways with better methods than the thing that every single guru out there in the world is like, oh yeah, anybody can do this. Anybody, you take my program and you will learn how to do this too. And one of my mentor students yesterday had an awesome point on that. He's like, if these gurus are serious about anybody can do this, why don't they just hire a bunch of people and become multi-trillion billionaires? And then if anybody can do it, just outsource it. If anybody can do it, hire somebody to sit in that seat and get it done. It's not true. So you guys are doing the right thing by learning the deep, in-depth details of stuff like this, the collateral assignments, that these are the things that separate us from the pack and allow us to be uber successful in this business.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't. We're transitioning back in.
So step one to refinancing my wrap would be to identify a local bank who will do a collateral
or a
assignment.
private lender.
Or a private lender who will do a collateral assignment.
And so again, not everybody knows how that works, but the word is collateral assignment. You're going to ask, hey, do you guys do collateral assignments? And they will say yes or no. Most of the time they won't know what you're talking about. Even when you talk about subject to, even people in the business might not know how that works. So I'm gonna,
the
if you hang out,
is collateral, and fix my spelling.
Collateral assignment. And at the end of this episode, I will tell you guys how to find who's doing that. A little trick. So back to our example. We cannot collateralize this asset, this property, because we don't own it. We are not able to put that. We can't say you can take my property from me if I don't pay because it's not my property. But what we can say is that if I don't pay the money that I said I would pay you back, you can take this nice shiny asset that I have in a note. Okay? So in my example we said that we owe Wells Fargo $70,000 and our owner owes us, our wrap donut buyer owes, people that are tuning in now are gonna be like, wrap donuts, what are the, our wrap buyer that owes us $115. You tell me, I'll try to go on a tangent for a minute. I want you guys to comment, who is in first lien position there? Is it the loan to Wells Fargo, or is it the loan for $70,000, or is it the loan to our wrap buyer at $115?
It's the original thing in place because it was first to the altar of, it was first.
Yes, nothing matters in lien position other than timing. The time and date at which it was filed. Doesn't matter that this one's for a lesser amount than that one. This one is in first lien position. So, if the only thing that matters in lien position is recordation, when it was recorded, and we have a lien with Wells Fargo that was filed on January 1st, and then we have a lien with our wrap buyer that was filed February 1st, and it's now March 1st, and we want to go do a collateral assignment and get a loan to refinance out of that 70. Well, if Ryan is my private lender here, and he's going to give me, let's just say we're just getting that 70, just to pay them off. Well, he's going to give me $70,000. What lien position is he in?
Now he's in second.
Explain.
Wait. Is he able to, when they buy that or when they refinance that, do they also get to keep lien position?
No. That's a really good question.
Then they're second.
They're in second lien position. And why is that? Can you explain a little bit further? Because you're right, but it takes a step to get to second lien position. So explain why you're in second lien position.
Well, the reason you'd be in second lien position is because first lien was the original. Second lien is you or your entity to the new buyer.
Right.
If the next person coming in,
our lender, our private lender,
our private lender, our collateralized bank, say they only refinance to 50 of the 70. You know, they don't do the whole full thing.
Let's say let's not touch that topic.
But I'm just saying they'd be third.
Oh, okay.
But because they're doing the full, this thing gets wiped out. This moves forward.
Perfect.
Now they're in second.
Perfect explanation. So I'm just going to reiterate that because that was right on point.
That was very like blocks. And you're going to give like the higher level of way to voice that?
It was a beautiful explanation of it. It's absolutely true. We've got this loan to Wells Fargo January 1st. We've got this loan to our wrap buyer February 1st. If we bring in a private lender on March 1st to refinance us out, well, they're getting recorded third in line. But because that because of that lending agreement says we are going to use this money to pay off our first loan, they give us 70, or the title company 70, the title company pays off Wells Fargo. Well, now that loan is gone, okay? And so everybody moves up a spot. Now, even though that loan was originally a wrap mortgage with our buyer, now it is no longer a wrap mortgage. Now that is in first lien position. And we're not addressing the two LLC system at this point in time. We're just talking in terms of what I'm saying here. So that now is the only debt that's on this property. The previous wrap is now the only debt on that property, which makes it first lien position. I'm sorry, it's not the only debt on the property. It was the earliest recorded debt on that property. So now that's in first lien position. So that is why we have the ability to say, okay, Mr. Lender, I really would like to pay off Wells Fargo with $70,000. Like, I would really like to get that taken care of. So if you'll give me 70, I'll pay that off. And Mr. Lender's going to go, well, like hell, I'm going to give you 70. I'm going to be in second lien position. And why does second lien position suck?
Because the reason second lien position sucks is because, say the buyer, you have to foreclose. Say first lien position forecloses on the whole situation. When you foreclose, you wipe out second, thirds, fours, fifths.
Any subordinate lending gets entirely wiped away when what's the difference or the opposite of subordinate? Primary? When a primary loan forecloses, any subordinate lending is absolutely wiped out. They get zilch, not a nothing. Okay, that's the danger of being in a second lien position. So our sophisticated lender here is going to say, no, I'm not going to lend you $70,000 to pay off your first, because then there's still a second there, which is going to make me subordinate to them. What if you foreclose on them? I'm wiped out. Okay? So in your collateral assignment, you address that situation. Okay? And I won't go into legal details on that, but we'll just say, because we are not a lawyer.
We're not lawyers. We're not CPAs. We're not financial planners.
I'm not an agent.
We're here for not financial.
Entertainment.
We're here for entertainment purposes only.
So what our collateral assignment says is, hey, you refinance me out. I can't put the house up as an asset because I don't own it. But what I do have as an asset is this loan for $115,000 to my wrap buyer, which will then be in a first lien position. So if I don't pay you your $70,000 like I said I was going to pay you, then you get to take this note from me. It's not you get to take the house from me, it's that you get to take this note from me. And that's a cool position for them, because as Ryan Lender, Mr. Private Lender Man,
he just paid 70 and now he's getting a note for 115.
Pay 70, get a note for 115. Your yield shoots through the roof if you're the note lender. So if you have a sophisticated lender, they are going to be able to understand these terms and be like, okay, yeah, that's a pretty good situation. And with private lenders, you're going to need to sit down and explain all of this. And hell, shoot them the link to this video.
But because the collateralized assignment is not specifically the property, it's you and the note itself. If the entity that you are, that's the middle of the wrap donut, if you do need to foreclose, that does nothing to your private lender, your bank, because you still owe them the 70. Right,
totally. Okay. And you do, like I said, address this situation in that collateral assignment in the event of a foreclosure. Like if I needed to foreclose on my wrap buyer, I can still foreclose on them and get the property back. But because of the nature of how we're setting up this collateral assignment, it's going to survive that foreclosure. and then put them into that first lien position.
So, because I'm a real estate investor and I watch Grant teach me some things, and I watch Daniel on Mondays, I realize that time is money, and other people's time is money, and other people's time is great for me. Who do I hire, or who do I need to talk to draft those documents? Because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not getting on Google to draft that stuff. Who, other than saying I have an idea of the concept and I can say collateral assignment until I'm blue in the face.
I know these fancy words.
And I can, is it the bank that drafts that?
It's
is it
going
the
to be
private
your
lender, or is it your lawyer? Like, who does that?
Yeah, the attorneys of your title company. Like, you can get doc prep if you've got an attorney that you like, or a title company that you like, or whoever. Doc prep's going to be done by them. So your doc prep, like, I would recommend like Matt Aycock, who we can tag in here in a second. He's just a brilliant attorney. The dude knows his stuff. He's got offices in, I think, Florida and here in Georgia and a couple different states. Brilliant dude. Scott Horn and Associates. Also a brilliant dude. You're never going to meet anybody smarter than Scott. He's crazy all over the place, but dude knows his stuff. Those are two guys that I would trust implicitly on doing this kind of stuff for a collateral assignment. But you got to find that person who is able to do it. That person who is willing to do that collateral assignment. Now, I have several private lenders that I've done collateral assignments with, but to a T, even the more sophisticated of them. You know, I've got private lenders that have $5, $6, $7 million in the bank that are lending, and I still needed to explain what a collateral assignment was to them for them to feel comfortable with doing this. So it's kind of it's a really cool way of doing things. It's a really cool way to get out of that. Now, in my example here, I just said we're just straight up refinancing for that 70.
Right.
That would be really useful if like a due on sale clause gets called.
I was actually going to ask that. What would be the purpose of doing this? Because typically a home loan or a typical, the reason you would keep the sub 2 in place in the first place is because it's going to be cheaper money than private capital is ever going to give you.
Right.
So what would be the motivations, and other than a due on sale clause or maybe that's all I can think of.
Yeah.
What are other reasons that you would want to do that?
Yeah, and let me apologize to the guys asking for a whiteboard. I am an idiot, and I left my laptop at home, so I can't whiteboard this for you guys.
I asked if he wanted to get the real whiteboard, and he's like, no.
Yeah, that's my bad. But it should. I mean, it's a fair. The concept is simple enough, right? You've got a first lien to Wells. You've got a second lien to your wrap buyer. You're going to get technically a third lien from somebody, which is going to pay this lien off, and everybody shifts up a spot. So now you have a first lien here and a second lien with your lender. And if you don't pay your lender, that first lien becomes theirs, and they now have a loan on this asset for $115 in this example.
You want to grab the whiteboard?
Sure.
All right.
Let's do that.
You say hi to all the people. I'll get a whiteboard.
Yeah, I'm gonna
answer.
answer.
Trey, can you mute my channel?
Thank you. And I promise not to forget my laptop next time. I got this fancy toy, right? This iPad Pro, and I was like, I don't have to carry my laptop anymore. So I haven't been carrying my laptop with me anymore. And lo and behold, today I'm like, crap, I should add it. So anyway, to answer the question of like the due on sale clause. We know a due on sale clause is if you buy a house subject to, and like he mentioned, when you're buying sub 2, you're going to have great terms typically. You've typically got like a 3.5-4% interest rate that you're getting on your terms with sub 2. So you want to preserve that. You want to keep that lending in place because there's no way you're getting private money for that kind of price. But one of the consequences that can possibly happen from sub 2 is the fact that they have the right to ask for the remainder of that loan to be due and payable at any point in time after that. Because the due on sale clause says if you sell this property, we have the option, not the obligation, but the option to ask for this loan to be called due. What's up, Trey? Our Vanna Trey here. So if that happens, do you want us to move this? Is this good right here for you, Travion?
I can see it over here.
Okay. If that happens, if you get that due on sale clause, there's a lot of things that you need. I mean, it's all hands on board at that point in time. You've got to be ready to move. You've got to be ready to fix this situation. There's other things that you can do to fix this situation. But one of your ultimate options, if you do have lending available to you, is going to be using a collateral assignment to just say, forget it. Let's just pay this guy off. Let's just pay Wells Fargo off and call it a day. Okay? So in that case, what you're going to do is you're going to say, look, Wells Fargo just called this note due. I need to get 70 grand. Now, the 70 grand in this example would be somewhere around 65 cents on the LTV. I'm not sure exactly what so in this example, if we say it's 70,000 divided by 115, that means, yeah, we're at a 61 cent LTV. So getting a lender to agree to give us that 70,000 shouldn't be too difficult because we already have an income producing asset. And this loan is at 61% of the value of this asset that we have, i.e. the note. So going to any investor club, finding those people that have the capital and saying, hey, look, I'm in a spot, okay? Due on sale clause is getting called on a subject to loan that I have. I need to refinance out of that Wells Fargo loan. I need $70,000 to refinance out of that, but I already have it sold on a loan for $115 and the house is worth $125. So will you give me the 70 that I need to pay off Wells Fargo, and in return, as your collateral, I'll give you this note, which would then be a first lien position note, and hopefully you will be able to find somebody where that works for them, okay? So that's one of the really cool ways that you're able to take advantage of this situation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Were you able to address any questions or say hey to everybody?
I was finishing up that question on I talked about the due on sale clause the whole time.
Well, real quick, just to clean house and appreciate everybody who's watching. Greg, thank you so much. I know you're from Florida. Jim McCullen, thanks for tuning in. Don't know where you are from, bud. Let us know where you're from. Marsha, Brandon, wow, Brandon Richards actually tuning in. It's been a while. Tang, as always, love you, buddy. Royce, Rochelle, Paul, Melissa, Paul, Evan, Jim. Did you answer Jim's question here?
I don't think so. No.
Slightly off topic, regular old refi, not a refi wrap, but here, I'll let you read it because I'm not a good reader.
Slightly off topic, regular old refi, not a refi wrap, but if there's time, I may be refinancing a flip that's been on the market for 60 days, debating either dropping the price and taking a loss or refinancing and turning it into a rental. How do I best evaluate that situation? Yeah, that is, that's an answer that like really only you can ultimately come up with because you have to figure out what your portfolio and your situation looks like right now. And you've got to figure out what your LTV is on that loan. And if you have the ability to get that type of lending. I mean, there's so many variables. That's such a 30,000 foot view. And to really dive in and know all of those variables and answer that most accurately, frankly, I think that would just take away too much time from the topic that we're talking about. But what you need to look at is you've got to figure out, A, can you afford, because rentals are not what everybody thinks rentals are, can you afford to not make money on that house, even as a rental? If you need to make that cash flow on that house, I don't recommend doing it. If your cash flow, if you're the only time that you're going to make money on cash flow on a rental, and I'm getting ready for people to flame me, and then I'm going to ask you to show me your P&L, the only time that you're going to really make money on that cash flow of a rental is when your rental, the actual rent rate is double what you're paying on your debt. That's typically the only time that you will truly make cash flow from that deal, because here's where everybody's going to flame me that's had a rental for 8 months and is like, I make $500 a month. Well, wait for your air conditioning unit to go out and it will have killed your cash flow for a year and 4 months.
Right.
Okay.
Especially this summer.
So, cash flow is not, if you can afford to just have an asset, a rental, and your only goal in that asset of that rental is, cool, somebody else is going to pay this thing off for me, I'm going to get some tax depreciation and hopefully be able to capitalize on some appreciation over time, sweet, you're good to go. But if you're like, man, I really need $400 a month and like I could get it if I have this rent because it rents for $1,500 and I could get a debt for $1,100, do not do that. That is going to bite you in the butt. So look at your personal situation, your cash flow, see if you can afford that, what kind of lending you have available to you, and kind of make your decisions from there.
Cool. Did you answer Matt Smith's question?
Maybe not.
I paid a junior loan that was 15 grand for $700. A clear lien. I never fully understood how that even worked.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like I saw that, I didn't realize that was a question. I thought it was more of just a statement.
Or maybe it was just a statement.
Yeah,
maybe,
I paid a junior loan that was for 15 grand for $700 a month. They cleared the lien. I never fully understood how that even worked. There's not enough details in that observation for us to really even understand what happened either to help you out on that there.
Before we go to the whiteboard at all, just to recap what we're talking about refinancing your wraps. Step one is to identify a private lender, identify a local community bank that will collateralize your assignment. Step two is reach out to or find a lawyer, an attorney, or a title company who can draft those documents, who speaks the language of wraps, investing, whatnot. Step three would be what?
Close and make your money, honey.
Close. So so what I'm hearing is it's a pretty straightforward
concept. Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know you could do that.
Exactly. It's really straightforward. It's just a niche. It's just that not many people. I love Daniel's phrase here, and I'm going to steal this, Daniel. I hope that you understand that. Cash flow in a rental is just escrow for repairs. That's perfect. Okay, so let's draw some pictures. How about that? We got some pictures. All right, so
those don't work very well.
These don't work very well? Okay.
Yeah. Here's your blue one.
Good to know. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at our lien positions, first of all, and we're going to draw some nice pictures, okay? So over here, we've got us a house.
That's my message to everybody today.
Aw, that's so cute. I like the little heart.
I know.
We've got us a house that we want to buy as an investor, okay? So what we're going to do, what's the best way that I want to look at this first if we're going to do something?
You said you had a 70 and then a 115. That's the example we were using.
Actually, could you write that over there? Because I'm going to kind of use these spaces on this to draw this out.
No one's watching anymore anyway.
We have a lot of people watching. So for this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to say debt on the property, okay? So we want to buy this house, okay? So we are the investor, and we are happy because we're buying this house. So we get a deed when we buy that house, right? That gives us ownership of the property. Now, in order for us to have gotten that deed to the property, what we had to do, and I'm going to put this in red because this is money out, okay? So we're saying this is money out, which is debt. We had to take out a loan to a bank because this is what banks look like apparently. We have to take out debt to a bank, and we're going to say that we're going to owe them 70 grand. Okay? Now, part of how that works when we have that debt on that is we now have a lien position. And I'm not going to bother putting deed of trust and note on here, but what I'm going to put is I'm going to put a date. I'm going to say that this is filed 1/1 of 18, whatever. Okay? So this is our first lien. Now, what we're then going to do is we're going to wrap that debt. Now, we have an episode about wraparounds earlier on in the Grant Teach Me Something. So I think it's like within the first 10 or so we do wraparounds. But just for visual sake, what we're then going to do is we're going to sell this property to a nice, happy family that wants to own a house. Okay? Now, these guys are going to be sold, they're happy, they're going to be sold this loan, or this house, for $115. Okay? And this lien is going to be filed 2/1 of 18, and it's going to be a second lien.
And just to recap, just to really bang it in everybody's head, the reason this is first is because it's January 1. The reason this is second is because this is February 1. The lien position is solely based off of the date, not the amount.
Not the amount. So when we do this, we now no longer have deed to the property. We are transferring that deed over to our new buyers. Okay? So they have the ownership of the property. They have a lien for $115. They filed it February 1st. Now, we get into a position where, hey, oh man, we need to pay off this bank. For whatever reason.
It could be because, it doesn't matter. due on sale clause, maybe the bank's going under, whatever.
Well, and I'll just go ahead and address this now because this was going to be the next topic I was going to go into, and we can just combine efforts. We've been talking about, hey, we just want to pay them off for the 70. One of the other great parts about a collateral assignment is, what if we just need $10,000 or $20,000? Well, maybe we get we get a lien from our investor for 90. We use 20 to pay them off. We cash out we use 70 to pay them off. We cash out 20. That is essentially a cash out refi.
Yeah.
So that would be the other, like when we're talking about doing these collateral assignments, we've been talking about let's just pay them off. But you can get a loan from your lender for a little bit more than your payoff and keep some cash, okay? So anyway, we're getting into a situation where we need to pay them off, due on sale, whatever that reason might be. So we're gonna go talk to our lender. Do we have another color other than green and red and blue? Black, cool. We're gonna go talk to our lender and we're gonna say, okay, private lender,
I need a collateralized assignment.
yes. So I'm gonna put here collateral assignment from our lender, because I can't spell good. Really, I just don't have the space. So we need a collateral assignment to come in from our lender. Well, we cannot say, hey lender, if I don't pay you, I'll give you the house, because we don't own the house. Who owns the house?
The family.
The family owns the house. They owe us $115 for that house. We owe the bank $70. We're gonna say, hey lender, I need $70,000. Will you give that to me? Lender's gonna say, okay, cool, I'll give that to you. So they're gonna give us $70,000, and we're gonna file this 3/1/18, and that puts them in third lien. Okay? Space is difficult here, so bear with me. So we've got a first lien, January 1st, second lien, February 1st, third lien, March 1st. Well, as part of this whole transaction, when it gets closed, we are paying off the bank. So that first lien goes away, and now all of a sudden the second lien becomes a first lien, and that third lien becomes a second lien. All right, you follow? Yeah. So now what we have, this is gone. These guys still own the house. They still owe us $115, but instead of out of that $115 us paying the bank $70, we're paying our investor $70.
So I don't have this question, but I'm sure somebody has this question. How does any of this affect these guys?
They don't see anything.
Right.
These guys don't see anything from this situation.
And they
you
don't
may
need
have to
approval?
get an allonge signed from them that says, like, yes, I have a mortgage for this amount. But that's may. You don't necessarily have to do that. That's just kind of depending on your closing agent on whether or not they're going to have that. Other than that, this all happens in the background with us dealing with it.
So just to put it in donut form,
Yes.
because we like donut form.
Yes.
Hopefully everybody got this. Let's go here, because we like donuts.
I do like donuts. You know, I've been having a donut every morning for this past, 3 weeks.
see it.
You can see it.
So that's the original, the 70. Then this is the 115. And so the refi would be to knock this guy out. But what you were saying, which I found interesting, is you don't only have to do that for 70. You could actually,
Oh, that's a good illustration.
do it like that, and now you have this, and then you take out your 10 or your 10 to 20 or whatever to have cash in your pocket to boost your business.
Right, exactly. So if you need some operating capital, you get with somebody who's willing to lend you a little bit more than your payoff. That'll give you some operating capital, and you're preserving your lien. You're preserving your note that's here.
So if I may, just because again I had this conversation yesterday, I might as well whiteboard it.
Sure.
Because it is a wrap. So you've got a 120 sub 2. Then they actually put 45 into it for repairs. And then they sold it for, let's just say 190.
Okay.
That's the
So they're in with a 165 basis.
Yeah, so they're in it for 165.
Okay.
I don't know percentages or anything like that, but I just know, yeah, they're in it for 165. 165 on a 190. That's still, you can still make money on the everything, but you couldn't necessarily sell the note because you're giving up too much.
Yeah, exactly. So if you were to sell that note, a 190 note, let's assume that it has been seasoned for at least, well, let me say it this way. My minimum offer that I can typically get people on a note sale if it's been seasoned for 6 months or so, it's about 87%.
Right.
In that case, we would be making an offer of 165.3. So you're making $300 from selling that note, right? Now I can make, if it's been seasoned longer, I can make offers up to like 93, 95%. Depends. I can even get 100% if it's been seasoned for a long time. It just, all I'm saying is, you got a note for sale, let me know. We can take a bid on it. But if they are in the situation, why are they trying to get out?
They're not trying to get out.
Okay.
They're just trying to get some capital to go on to the next venture.
Gotcha.
They're trying to do what we were talking about before. We're like, hey, why not get 10 to 20
Yeah,
hours?
so this is going to be a challenging situation for that because you don't have the LTV numbers to back everything up, right? When you get somebody involved on a collateral assignment, they need their loan to be protected. And that protection method comes through LTVs. Last week, actually, wasn't it last week that we were talking about benefits of owner financing? I think it was. Last week, we were talking about why we can buy at 95% with owner financing and it'd be okay. Well, it's because we're not putting cash out on the table.
But now,
if we're putting cash out on the table, then we need that money protected by a loan to value percentage that makes sense. What we would be asking a bank or a lender to do is put $165,000 of actual cash on the table. Therefore, now LTV requirements are going to kick in.
which is usually what, 80%?
Which is usually 70 or 75%. Now, if you are a little bit more established, like my lenders will typically lend me up to 82, maybe even 85%, depending on the deal, because I'm established in the business. Like people know that it's a safe bet. But if you're not super established, you're probably not getting that. You're probably getting 70% is the average of the value of the property. So if this house is worth 190, the most that you would hope to get on that kind of deal, would be like 130, 140 maybe. So you can't really cash out on this. You might be able to sell a partial note to somebody to get some cash on this, but really this doesn't have enough spread and equity to make anything work with like refinances or note sales or that kind of stuff, unless this was seasoned for a serious amount of time where I might be able to get somebody maybe like $10,000 or $15,000 to walk away with if it's been seasoned for a couple of years.
But that's to walk away. That's to sell.
That's selling the note.
So this scenario, the refi is just not going to work.
Right.
But I mean, you can still make good money. Still making money.
Well, there's great cash flow here, right? I'm sure there's great cash flow here because they're probably on sub 2, at 4%. These repairs, I wonder what their terms are that they got those repairs.
No clue.
I don't know, but it's probably less than 9.5%, which is what you should be 9.5%, 10% charging on this 190. So they're probably cash flowing a few $100s.
Yeah,
that's a good deal.
Even though they got 45 in it, 45 at a bank is what, negative 5%?
Yeah, and that wouldn't be that deal wouldn't necessarily meet my minimum standards on rules of thumb, but it still makes you money. So that's how collateral assignments are going to work. And again, the cool thing here is that you can do essentially a cash out refi or just a straight up refi through these collateral assignments. And those can be great ways to get out. So I think that we've pretty well explained what this method is for people, and we can just kind of jump into questions before we start closing out.
Yeah, so if you have scenarios where you're in a sub 2 deal or you're in a wrap deal and you are trying to figure out, am I capable of refinancing that? Send us some details. If you would rather not, blast it out there, throw me a DM and I may or may not see it. But just drop in the comments. That's the easiest way for us to get that addressed.
What is a good IV position? Do you know? Income to value position, I guess maybe.
Hey
Jaime, what's the IV? I'm not familiar with that, and I'm not sure. I'm trying to address Jaime's question, but I don't really get it. I'm going to read it out loud. Maybe that helps. Since that investor likes a note for cash flow, but maybe not likes that second position, could you substitute collateral and give him a $70,000 note that's in first position, in a good IV position, which I'm not sure what IV is, on another asset. You bought this new $70,000 note for 40, investment to value. Bought this new $70,000 note for $40,000. Dude, I'm sorry, I'm not following you. It might just be performance anxiety because I'm in front of the camera, but I just am not, and I'm just not following that. Well,
let's answer a question from Megan on YouTube. Thank you, Megan, for first of all actually having a name on YouTube and not 123 Bucket Rust
Crux Killer 14.
Yeah. What if only want to take some of the equity, like for another investment? What are those pros and what are those cons?
Well, I mean, that's exactly what we were just talking about, right? So if you look at, like in this example, all right, we've got a $70,000 underlying mortgage with a $115,000 wrap. Well, maybe if we've got a $115,000 wrap, that means that we could probably do a substitute or a collateral assignment and maybe get about $85,000. For a collateral assignment, depending on your lender. I ran that at about 75 cents. So it depends on your lender if you're 70 cents or 80 cents LTVs. But let's say that you could get a collateral assignment for $85,000. Well, that's a $15,000 bump in your equity, or I'm sorry, in your cash position. Mm-hmm. But let's run some numbers again here. Let's just kind of let's take a real life. Let's whiteboard this. Let's take a real life example on this.
Trey, I'm going to move the whiteboard over a little bit so the fan is not like killing the mic.
Oh, cool.
That's what I was trying to.
Okay. Are we still good on camera? So what we're going to do here
I
is
like to give Trey keep him active on his toes.
That's what happens when you got good crew, is that you can handle stuff like that. So you want to write these because your handwriting is much better than mine.
That's a disaster. If mine is better. Okay, what we got?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run like a semi-real life scenario. We're gonna run what this might look like in real life with those numbers that I gave. So let's say that we've got a $70,000.
Hold on, I gotta get my hashtag.
Hashtag wrap donut. I will be very excited in 20 years when people think that the wrap donut is an actual thing.
Mine! It was me! Anyway, what is it, 70,000?
So go ahead and write this over there. We're gonna do a $70,000 underlying mortgage.
Is that the first?
This is the first lien. We're gonna do it at 4.5%, and we're gonna say that that one had 27 years left on it. It's a kind of average deal. That would mean that our principal and interest on that loan is going to be $373.60. So let's just round up and say $375, just for the sake of ease here.
I'll just do PI.
Our P&I. So on this loan that we're taking over subject to for $70,000, we have a P&I payment of $375.
$375.
Mm-hmm. Now, what we have said is that we sold that house for maybe $125 and took a $10,000 down payment. Therefore, we've got a $115. Oh, so on a second lien, we've got a $115 loan at 9.5% for 30 years. And the loan payment coming in is going to be $366.98. I'm sorry, $966.98. So let's say $960 or $970, just for sake of ease here. So we are now cash flowing $970 minus $375. On this asset, we would have been typically cash flowing $595 a month.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, just because my head is stuck on the wrapped donuts, there's actually two donuts in this situation. You've got the 27-year donut. You'll be eating this for 27 years, which is that 4.5%, right?
Yeah.
And then this one is the 9.5%. So you're doing this one for 27 years, and for 3 years, you don't get a donut at all. You get that donut hoe.
Oh, shoot.
And that's for
hashtag donut holes. Hashtag wrap donut holes.
So, but you know but people need to realize that, because that's the power of this, is you're not just capturing the 5% on 27 years. You're capturing the 5%. Whatever that is, here to here, 5% for 27 years, but for 3 years, you're getting a full 9.5%.
Right.
And that adds up.
It does. It really does. And again, I encourage you to watch our wraparound video because that's going to explain this stuff in full.
That's the donut hoe.
Donut hoe. So basically what he's saying is that for 27 years, you're going to make $595 a month. And then for 3 years, you're going to make $970
there it
a
is.
month.
It's the hashtag OF donut hole.
So
it's free content, guys.
Okay, so all right, so let's get rid of these because we're gonna. I'm sorry, buddy. We're getting rid of this beautiful picture here because we're gonna keep writing on it.
We're joking, but that is a serious
it's a
thing.
big benefit here.
Yeah, but most people don't realize that.
So let's look at the situation now. Well, we would have been cash flowing. Let's kind of do like a wah, wah. We would be cash flowing $595 a month from the difference there. Now you're in the situation where you want to do a collateral assignment. And so what you want to do is you want to get rid of that 70 grand that's here. So you're going to bring in a private investor to cash you out. Now, in this example, you're saying how much working capital can I get from this? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, with this LTV requirement, you would probably be able to get a collateral assignment somewhere in the $85,000 range. So we're going to say we're going to get a collateral assignment for $85,000. Now, first and foremost, that gives us 15 grand of cash in our pocket. What we're doing is we are taking money out of our equity position. We are taking from our owner-financed piggy bank. Mm-hmm. We are going ahead and grabbing that cash out of there. So we will no longer be making our 5% spread of interest on that $15,000. Or actually, that $15,000, I take that back. That was the outer rim of the donut.
Right.
We were making 9.5% interest on that $15,000 before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want you to fully understand the consequence of cashing out in this way is that, hey, if we do a loan for 85 grand, we're going to pay off 70, and we are stealing from our piggy bank that we used to have this $45,000 equity in. Now we'll only have $30,000 of equity. Well, remember, that equity that we used to have was making 9.5%. So we've pulled 15 out of that. We will no longer be making interest on.
Will we be? I know your language and your handwriting skills are bad. Will we be able? Can you figure out how much opportunity lost?
Yes.
An amount that you can actually show?
Yes. So what we would, well, actually that'll be pretty easy for me to do. Let me just do that real quick.
And just to dumb it down for people like myself, what he's saying is, yes, you can steal. It's not stealing. You're taking out the 15,000, but that 15,000 now could mean, oh, by the way, you're not going to make 22 later. 45,000.
If you are to take out this 15 now, you are passing up on a total income of $45,000 over the time.
One thing we never talked about is what interest rate these are typically
That's
at.
where I'm going. Yeah,
my bad.
Well, no. That's a great segue because that's exactly what we're talking about is what is the effect of taking out a collateral assignment? Because you're not getting it at 4.5%. That's not going to happen. You're with private money now. You're with investor terms now. It's going to be more. Mm-hmm. But one of the effects of that is you're grabbing 15 grand that you were making 9.5% on for the next 30 years. You're essentially losing out on $30,000 of interest carry that you would have made on that.
So what I'm hearing is if you can never, ever, ever, ever have to get a collateral assignment, don't do it.
You're in a better position.
Because this first lien position of 4.5%, it's very unlikely that you're going to find a bank or a private money guy or gal to give you 4.5%. Is that what I'm saying?
It's very unlikely.
What you're saying?
Yeah, not going to happen. The least in today's market with low interest rates, the least that you can expect to get out of that if you have excellent credit, a wonderful relationship with your bank, all that blah, 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 somewhere in that 6.5% to 7% range.
So just to recap this whole video, this whole scenario is if there's a due on sale clause, there's a disaster, and you have to do something, and you don't have $70,000 sitting in your bank ready to apply to this.
Right.
You can still cash flow, you can still make money, and you can get out of the bad situation of, oh crap, shit's hitting the fan or the ceiling. But if you can do it without doing this, you should do that.
You should.
Got it.
So let's look at what this most likely is going to look like. Most likely your collateral assignment is going to be somewhere like 9.5% for for 20 years maximum. Lots of times private lenders will only go 10 years. Lots of times they will only go less, right? But let's say that you've got terms that you're able to get, like my private money that I get, I'm paying 9.5%, 9%, somewhere between 8 to 9.5. Somewhere between like most of my lenders are at 8, but we're going conservative and we're saying up to 9.5 because I've got one of them that does that. 20-year terms. If we do $85,000 at 9.5% for 20 years, that means that we are paying out $790 a month. So now we are replacing our debt that used to be $375 a month with debt that's now $790 a month, and we are going from a $595 cash flow a month to a $220 cash flow a month. This collateral assignment saved our rear in that due on sale clause. So it's okay to make $220 a month because you were about to be making a whole lot of $0 a month. Was that math not right? 790. $120 a month. So it's okay to be making $120 a month because you were about to be making. Is that still? Hold on. 790. 180.
I was almost there.
So let me say it again. It's okay to be making $180 a month because you were about to be making a whole lot of nothing a month if that went through. Collateral assignments can work in that way. Well, another way that a collateral assignment can work is what if your underlying mortgage has a balloon on it and you need to get out?
Right.
There are reasons why it makes sense to do a collateral assignment. There are reasons, but understand the consequence of what's happening there. So not only are you taking out that cash that you could have made, but you're getting less cash flow going forward if you were to do that higher end refi.
But to be clear, though, it's, you know, if that's only 20 years and this is still 30 years, you're still going to get 10 years of that 970.
Yeah. So in this case, let me
do math.
Yeah. Fill some time for me for 5 seconds so I can do some math and give you guys some answers.
Well, let's see what people are saying so we know. Oh, cool. We still have people watching. Yay. Hashtag, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Sonia. Let me see. Wrap donut holes. Really? Yes, Dan. That's what we play. That's what we do here. I have a deal looking to sell. This may be a better option. Possibly. Thanks, but thank you so much for watching, Evan. Matt Smith, can you explain how junior loans are paid off?
Yeah, that's through the title company.
Yeah, through title company. Mark, thanks for watching. Can you explain how junior loans get paid off during foreclosure? I've heard of second position loans getting paid for $500, even if the loan is second position for 10 grand. Let's circle back to that at the end. Well, I think Daniel's already responded to that with a short. Let me see if anybody on YouTube's. So at the end of this video, we will be doing like a book giveaway for the random comment picker. So make sure you're getting comments in. It's not a it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you do 10 comments, you're getting 10 opportunities to win a book. Same thing on YouTube, but not the YouTube chat. It's the YouTube comments. So later in the day, throughout the day, if you want to go to the YouTube video of right now, but later, drop comments in, and I don't know, 5, 6. Later today, I'll do a random comment picker from those comments, but it's not in the live chat that y'all in right now. It's once this video is done, then you can ask comments and drop in comments there, and we'll do a book giveaway from those as well. So therefore, all you Facebook people, after the video, head over to the YouTube video and drop comments because we like to give stuff away. As far as what we got going on, August 14th in DFW, we have our DFW Real Estate Investor Meetup in Grapevine. If you are in 3 to 5 hours driving range and you haven't been to this meetup, you need to come out. We've got anywhere from 400 to 600 people come out, free booze. We've got the Crown, we got the Scotch, we got all the stuff. We got free Chick-fil-A, a lot of networking opportunities, a lot of opportunities to learn. It's probably, if you've been to local events, this is not it. If this is the first event you've ever been to, I'm sorry, because other events are not like that. August 20th, we'll be in San Antonio with the same event. So if you're in San Antonio, check us out on August 20th. And that's what we got here. As far as Propelio, what we do and actually how we make money, we do subscription-based for real estate investors where we offer you, We offer you access to off-market leads. We get you access to true MLS comps, and we also give you access to have an investor-friendly website. And on October 1st, we're releasing the Propelio Academy, where all this stuff and the kitchen sink we are giving to you for free. So Grant, you ready?
Yep.
Cool.
So I ran some quick numbers so that y'all can see just I'm not showing you the process that I ran, I'm just showing you the end story here. Your wrap donut, for the 30-year, 9.5, 115, that would make you an income of $348,000 over that next 30 years.
And that's even with the 70 getting paid off.
That is just purely only looking at principal and interest over 30 years on 9.5%, 115. That is only, this is the money that your buyer will pay you. Okay?
Got it.
The money that your buyer will eventually end up paying you is $348,000. If you have this $70,000 underlying mortgage.
And this is the 27-year?
That's the 27-year underlying mortgage. Over the 27 years at 4.5% and whatever the terms are that we put there, 4.5%, 27 years, $70,000, you will pay out $121,000. So if you were to leave this situation alone and not do a collateral assignment, you will make $227,000 total from this deal. Okay.
Which is more than little.
So $227,000 from this deal, and that's not even counting your down payment that you got when you wrapped this, which was probably another $10,000 or $15,000 on top of that.
Right.
If you do a collateral assignment and cash yourself out, and you've got a loan here of $85,000. Total, the money that you will pay on that loan over the 20-year term at 9.5% is going to be $190,000. So on this situation,
this is going to be less.
It's going to be less. It'd be 348 minus 190. You will make $158,000 in that spread, plus the $15,000 that you get from cashing out, plus your down payment. Okay? So more apples to apples, we would add 15 to this, and that'd be 160, 172, 173.
Right.
So more apples to apples, you're making 173 here and 227 there.
Can we do one with just the 70 and not the, this is what this was. No,
Yeah.
Can we do one with the 70 refi and not 85
Yeah,
refi?
absolutely.
Because
so
this example is just so we can get money out of the bank.
Exactly. So just for this example right here, apples to apples, you're losing $55,000 by doing that loan. Now, if we were to just refi the 70 at 9.5%, 20 years, your total that you will pay is going to be $157,000.
And what's that minus 227?
So 227 minus 157. Wait, 227 minus 157?
The 348.
348.
Sorry.
348 minus 157. You're making $191,000 there. So
191?
191,000. So you're essentially getting out $30,000 less in just doing a pure collateral assignment on the principal balance alone. You're getting about $55,000 less by cashing out right now, versus if you were to just leave it alone as
What do we say the difference that was?
30. Yeah.
30-ish? All right, so for all you economics people, the opportunity cost...
36, I'm sorry, 36.
The opportunity cost of actually doing a refi is $36,000. You're losing the opportunity cost to do this. That's probably wrong terminology, but anyway, you're losing $36,000 to have the peace of mind that you got this covered and you're good to go and you refied. Obviously, if you don't have to refi, you're making the most money. The opportunity cost to actually pull that 15 out is $55,000. So you got to think with what's the difference between 36 and 55?
About 20.
So it's
19.
costing you 20 and change, $22,000 maybe, whatever, 20. Yeah. It's costing you $20,000 to pull out 15 out. So you got to think,
versus
okay,
what you got going there.
What's that?
Versus the other option of just pulling the 70.
Yeah. So you can either just pull 70 and get your 191, but if you do have to take that 80 to get your 15 now, it's going to cost you about 20 grand to do that.
Now, and again, just to close up on this, what we want to make sure that you understand, though, is you may hear that and be like, well, then I'm just never going to do a collateral assignment. Well, you are losing $36,000 or $55,000 by doing this, but what if this loan is getting called in a balloon or a due on sale or something like that? You are gaining $191,000 or $158,000 by doing it this way, because otherwise you're getting squat. Because it's killing you. You're foreclosing. You're out.
Yeah, either getting foreclosed on, or you got to come out of your piggy bank with 70 grand.
Right.
And then the opportunity costs your money not going towards other stuff.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's address any other questions, and let's get out of this thing.
All right. What do we got here?
Well, what's we got?
Questions?
I just like the comment of "you guys are awesome."
Aw,
let's just reread that over and over. Thank you, Sonia. Great info. Greg's like bragging that he got a book. Cool. This was a lot of info. So thankful I can play it back later. Great content. Well, absolutely. Thanks, LaQuisha, for watching. Like drinking from a fire hose, I'll have to press rewind one time for my mind.
That's how we teach here.
You know, but that's, I'm glad you wrote that. I'm glad. Is that right?
Yeah. You're right.
I'm glad you wrote that, Jeff, because, again, that's what we're trying to do here. What we do here is not give you high-level things that you have to Google later. We hope that the videos that we're providing you, all the information's there, and if it's not there, can at least be addressed in the comment section. So if you're watching this a year from now, and you're like, wow, Ryan and Grant, or Grant and Ryan didn't really answer my question, I challenge you to drop a comment below, tag myself, tag Grant, tag Propelio, tag Daniel, and I bet you $1 it'll get answered.
Awesome. Yeah, I love you guys being here and watching this. So, yeah, I think I think we've addressed it as I'm looking through. I think we've addressed our questions here. So, guys, again, like he said, I'm really big on real actionable information. This is not stuff that you can just get from anybody. We're not the gurus just like, hey, anybody can do it. Everything's easy. Just pay me $9.97. That said, if you do want some more education on how owner financing works, on how some of these creative strategies work, I do have CreativeCashFlow.com. We have partnered up with Propelio to get you this kind of information on a weekly basis. And then I do have an academy that, whereas like right here, we're just kind of shotgunning ideas and getting, my academy teaches you from start to finish, everything that needs to happen. We've got a weekly Q&A session live that I stream from my living room at the house, where I answer everybody's questions that are coming through that want to know something that might not be mentioned in a academy lesson or might not be mentioned here. We are able to dive a little bit more deeply in there. Like I mentioned earlier, I do have a slot open for a personal mentor. So that's starting next week. If you are interested in having a personal mentor, let me know. Message me. We can go from there. The way that works is we'll go to coffee, we'll interview each other, see if it's a good fit for both of us, because I don't accept everybody in, and I don't think that you should fork over that much money for somebody that you don't think can get you where you want to go. But let's go from there and see if that works.
And Alex, great question. Are our events 21 and up or 18 and up? Honestly, our events are you an entrepreneur and want to do some things? Shout out to a couple people. Jalen Wilson, he's still in high school, and he actually quit football to pursue real estate.
Freaking awesome.
He comes to our events, he comes to our masterminds, he's active on the videos, he absorbs it, and he actually asked a question the other day, which was, I'm waiting until I'm 18, I'm waiting to graduate before I do my first deal, and everybody he meets is like, why? Find yourself a JV partner to sign on just because you're not 18 and can't sign a contract doesn't mean you can't do deals. You just got to get people in your corner that you trust to help you out. So I would encourage anybody at any age to get in this business. Another shout out is we have a group of kids, they're called Go Kids Pro, who actually sponsor our events, and they're young entrepreneurs who are, I don't know how old they are. I just know I don't talk to them unless there's an adult in the room. That's how young they are. Probably 12 and 14, maybe 10. I don't know. They're just young. But my point to address that is the fact that they're shut up. They're young.
What a terrible example of how young somebody is. Like, what? We're just gonna let that one go.
Yeah, shut up. No, I'm just saying being an entrepreneur it doesn't matter if you're 12, you're 14, you're 18, or you're 62. Same thing for the older folk who've had a job for 20 years, 40 years, and they're like, I want to do real estate. Well, then by God, do it. Don't let age hold you back. That's
there is no
that's
try,
my rah-rah.
there is only do.
That's my rah-rah. So hopefully that answered your question. What else we got here?
That's everything that I see.
I'm glad nobody else has addressed that, so we'll just get out of here before somebody does address that.
Here, guys. Don't forget, every Wednesday we're here. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Please tag somebody. If you think that somebody could get use out of this, tag them. Tag them in the comments so that they can come in here and watch this. Share it to a group, whatever that might be. We're here to spread love. We're here to spread knowledge. It's a abundance mentality. So let's work together to make sure that the entire investing landscape is brought up together.
That's your buddy, right?
Jaime!
Yeah. So what book do you want to give away?
Let's do Rocket Fuel. It's the follow-up to Traction, and it's quite good.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah,
Rocket Fuel.
Rocket Fuel.
All right.
It describes the relationship between a visionary and an integrator, which are the two major roles that are needed in any company, which you may not realize are there. So, yeah, it's a really good book.
So, Jaime, if you would, send me a DM with your address and your phone number and whatnot, and I'll get that book off to you. Again, everybody that's watching on YouTube, everybody watching on Facebook, if you would like to be in a book giveaway contest, go to the YouTube video after we get off here. I'll drop a link in the comment section just so you can have it, just because I love to spend Daniel's money. And thank you, Mark. I try to be funny. So go there after we finish this. It may take a few minutes for it to kick in to allow the comments, but we'll be doing a random comment picker on YouTube later this afternoon to give a book away from there, only because we like to give shit away. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have questions in the future, if you have ideas for what content you want to see, whether it be from Daniel, myself, or Grant, all you got to do is tag us and say, hey, I want to see more of this. If you have questions pertaining to this subject matter or you need recommendations, I did see a comment. Do you have any plugs for any local bankers in the DFW?
Yeah, in DFW, use Texas Republic Bank or, oh, I didn't give you my trick, Texas Republic Bank or Texas Brand Bank. Here's the trick to finding who will do a collateral assignment. Go search your local county clerk, which can be done online, and there is a document type called collateral assignment. So look for collateral assignments that are being recorded, look for the lenders that are working on those collateral assignments and reach out to them and say, this is what you want to do. So that's your trick. That's how you find lenders that are going to do this.
And then as far as, is there a market rate people should be looking for? You said 9.5?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm getting anywhere from 8 to 9.5%, maximum 20 years. So that's kind of where I'm at. But again, I'm established, I'm less of a risk, so I don't know what you would be getting. Your job is to back yourself into the deal and see what makes sense. If you're in a situation where you need this, anything is better than nothing. And let me also be very clear too. I know we've been dismounting for a second, but let me just say, if you're in a situation where you're getting a due on sale clause or a balloon or something like that, even if you're not going to be making money on this deal, it is the right thing to do to get that collateral assignment so that your family that bought this house from you is not getting kicked out of their home. Okay? So even if the terms don't make you any money, I'm sorry, that's part of the deal. That's part of the risk that you took when you got in here. One of the things that I put in every one of our mission statements of every company that I own is that we're going to do the right thing, especially when it's not in our favor. So this would be one of those situations.
And the situation he's talking about is you're in the wrap. Obviously, you've made the documentation to where you're in the clear no matter what. But if for whatever reason, due on sale clause, and you're like, well, whatever, I'll just let it foreclose, and you're screwing over the end buyer.
Your wrap buyer. Don't do that.
That just goes back to what we say a lot here, which is don't be a dick. And if you're getting into a real estate with the intentions like that, don't come to my events, don't come to our events, don't do business with me, and then let people know that you're an asshole so they know not to do business with you.
Especially if it's after like 7:30 or so.
Basically, just because you're in real estate is not you need to have you need to have ethics, you need to have morals, and you need to be a good person. You can still make a ton of money in situations and still make it a win-win for everybody. You know, I'm not trying to be on the high horse and be like, oh.
But it's our job. It's our job as people that are in front of a camera, and your job as people that are doing this business. It's our job to reinvent the real estate investing world, and we do that by doing things honorably. So even if you're not going to be making money or losing a little bit of money, the right thing to do is not screw this family out of their house.
And the biggest thing is you got to remember, as a real estate investor, and I know we're going over, and we'll get out of here in a second, but there's a reason that if you're ever to put in front of a judge against a homeowner or a tenant, and there's a reason you're the big bad real estate investor, and that's because of the negative press that investors have gotten for the past gajillion years. So it's on you to try to give us a better name.
Yeah, it's the biblical principle of being without reproach, being above reproach. Like, there should never be a question. If it comes down to, well, did they do the right thing? Everybody should be able to be like, look, that totally could have happened, but I know Grant, and I know that he wouldn't have done that.
Right. So anyway, that's what we got. That's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, like it. If you shared it, share it again. That's all I got.
High five? Slow-mo high five.
Slow-mo high five out. We'll see you next time.